Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. Yesterday we reviewed NXT No Mercy, the first of two wrestling events we had over the weekend. This is the second of the two, who in a way of paying homage to the New Japan Pro Wrestling founder Antonio Inoki, who passed away last year. Tony Khan did kind of this tribute show, but this tribute show is going to be more of an annual thing. So, because Antonio Inoki, he was considered wrestling's greatest dreamer, referred to by Tony Khan here. That's where this event gets its namesake. We are going to be talking about AEW WrestleDream, the inaugural, hopefully, AEW WrestleDream, WrestleDream, I should say. Of course, as always, I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time. And I had a pretty good time for the most part with this show. And the reason I had mostly a good time with the show, you will find out. But as always, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, especially the one I did yesterday on NXT No Mercy, if you haven't already, go check out that review. But if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about each match. I'm going to go match by match here, and we have 14 matches on this card. Granted, 4 of them were on the pre-show, the 0 hour, but yeah, 14 matches. That means 10 matches on the show itself, and yeah, so this wrapped up pretty close to midnight, but quite a bit happened. So let's get into it. But you know what? Watching this event, I kind of had a match of my own. It was me, Nigel Dixie, the humble viewer, trying to watch and review this in a handicap match against two very vicious, very ruthless, very annoying opponents that I had to put away. That being the Bleacher Report app and Apple AirPlay, because all kinds of freezing and stopping and like crashing and all kinds of stuff. It got pretty grating, and the thing is this isn't really anything new. In fact, I think I referenced it when I reviewed Revolution earlier this year. If you haven't already, go check out my review of AEW Revolution. Watching it through the Bleacher Report app, it would freeze from time to time, and it also froze when I watched the other events that we had this year, such as All In, All Out, Double or Nothing, and Forbidden Door. But this, the amount of freezing that happened here, this was as bad as has it had ever been. And then there was literally a match that we're gonna get to later on where it froze 5 times through the match. I was tempted to rewatch the match before reviewing and everything, but I determined I had seen kind of enough of it. I saw pretty much enough of it, thankfully, to warrant a semi plausible review. But yeah, so the crashes were so great. By the time I got to the semi-main, that being FTR versus Aussie Open, which obviously we'll get to and talk about. By the time that happened, I just gave up. I turned off the AirPlay and just watched it on my phone, and just watched the rest of the show on my phone. So yeah, hopefully it gets fixed. Hopefully, it wasn't really an issue with my Wi-Fi, because while I'm in AirPlay mode, I'm able to do other stuff on my phone and everything that require Wi-Fi. I was checking social media sometimes to see reactions and stuff to some of the stuff that was going on in the show, but yeah, that was working perfectly fine. I had the bars on my phone. It wasn't full bars, but it was enough for at least somewhat, hopefully stable internet connection. But yeah, it got really bad here. To the point where I had to give up. Hopefully, it's fixed by the time we get to, I believe the next event is going to be Full Gear, or which is taking place on a Saturday. Why? Yeah, so hopefully it's fixed by then. But yeah, it got really grating and it got really annoying. But enough of the rant there. We start off. I'm kind of just gonna like briefly breeze through the pre-show matches. So we had an 8-person mixed tag team match, which I guess this one was added in the dead of night, essentially. Yeah, because the other match that we're gonna talk about, I saw as well get added, but I guess this got added pretty close to the show as well. It was Satoshi Kojima, Keith Lee, Athena, and Billy Starks teaming up to defeat Shane Taylor Promotions, that being Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, Diamante, and Mercedes Martinez. So it looks like Athena's a face again, I guess. I guess that's what I get for not watching Ring of Honor. I thought about like watching Ring of Honor and like the Ring of Honor events and stuff, but I didn't really feel like it. But yeah, so there's that. Then Claudio Castagnoli defeated Josh Barnett in singles action. Then Luchasaurus defeated Nick Wayne in singles action. And then for the World Trios Championships, the Acclaimed retained against the Mighty O'Neill, aka TMDK, that being Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, and Bad Dude Tito. So now that the pre-show is out of the way, now we get into the show proper, as MJF defends the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against the Righteous, that being Vincent and Dutch. Wait, Nigel, you might be asking, isn't Adam Cole one half the AEW, not the AEW, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions? Yes, but he's out with an injury. So MJF decided he'd go alone, go with handicap, and he actually stuck to it. He actually did the handicap. Part of me was kind of expecting him to like maybe call on someone else, be like, no, I'm not fighting these two guys. I just bring someone else in, but no, I guess MJF really is a changed man, and he definitely proven himself here, going against the Righteous. MJF talking a little smack beforehand, even addressing what happened on AEW with someone in like MJF's double mask attacking Jay White, almost. So I guess they're trying to frame it as like MJF trying to be framed, essentially. So I guess it's gonna be like a whodunit when it comes to that. But MJF have made vows in this match. He said he was going to body slam Dutch, who was the big one. He said he was going to shove Vincent's head in Dutch's arsenal, if you will. And you know what, MJF, a man of his word, he did both of those. But yeah, pretty decent for the most part. MJF holding his own in this handicap match, ultimately putting away, I believe it was Vincent that he pinned with the Heat Seeker. The Righteous, this was my first time actually seeing them in action. Like I had heard of them mostly because Stu Grayson's part of them as well, and they were kind of had a little feud with the Dark Order on Ring of Honor television. But yeah, so the Righteous were put away here by MJF. So MJF single-handedly putting away the Righteous here. There's sadly no single clothesline, which does kind of suck. But yeah, so MJF picking up the win there and retaining. So I wonder, will he actually hold on to it until Adam Cole is healed up and everything? Will he eventually drop it? I guess we're going to find out. But yeah, so MJF retains there. Then next up, for both the Ring of Honor World Championship and the Strong Openweight Championship, Eddie Kingston battled Katsuyori Shibata. And pretty solid match as well. Although I think this is where like a lot of the freezes started to happen, in the aforementioned problems I was having with the Bleach Report app and AirPlay. And the reason I kind of blame both is because I was looking in the comments, because Bleach Report does have like a comment section. There was a couple other people talking about how the app was like crashing and everything. But otherwise it's pretty solid effort. Heard quite a bit of strikes and everything between the two, and they put over in commentary both men with their styles and everything, attempting to honor Antonio Inoki, and both men definitely striking and performing a lot of strikes and everything. Eddie Kingston ultimately picking up the win and retaining the championships against Shibata. Pretty solid match. Edge and Eddie Kingston retain, and they do show respect of everything at the end. So, Eddie Kingston retains there, so congrats to him. Then next up for the TBS Championship, Chris Statlander defeated Julia Hart. So she defended her TBS Championship against Julia Hart and put away Julia Hart. Now, I was almost scared for a second because they brought up how Julia Hart has never beaten Chris Statlander. So I thought it was going to be a case of like what happened at All Out, where there was two matches, Omega and Takeshita, and Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho, where they talk about how this person had never beat that other person. They talk about how Takeshita never defeated Omega, and how Statlander never defeated Ruby Soho. So I thought, Julia Hart's going to defeat Chris Statlander here, isn't she? But no, Chris Statlander actually picks up the win, and she prevents Julia Hart from hitting her with the mist. She even survives the Brody King interference. Brody King is there with Julia Hart, tries to run some interference, tries to like scare Statlander, but Statlander didn't fall for it, and she put Julia Hart away. So congrats to Chris Statlander for retaining the TBS Championship there. Then next up, in the 4-way tag team match for a future AEW World Tag Team Championship match, and by future I mean, I'm pretty sure that means whenever Tony Khan feels like it, because sadly that's what happened last time with FTR, who ironically are now the AEW World Tag Team Champions, so maybe I should shut up. But anyway, it was the Young Bucks, the Guns, the Lucha Bros, and Orange Cassidy and Hook. And the Young Bucks picking up the win here. 2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row where we have the Fatal 4-Way, a format with the tagging in and out of teams. AEW, you're supposed to be the alternative, but you betrayed me. Why'd you betray me like this? But nevertheless, pretty solid match. Still a lot of action between the 4 teams. Of course, the Young Bucks doing what they do best, a lot of teamwork and stuff. And the more I'm seeing the Young Bucks, the more I definitely like them. They do a lot of like team up and teamwork and stuff like that at the Gun, and also getting a lot of stuff in really all 4 teams. It was funny, like in the intro where Orange Cassidy rolled under the ring, and Hook did the same thing as well, leaning into that kind of sloth style that Orange Cassidy has. Was Hook Phoenix taken out by the Gun, and was a lot of action throughout, even if the 4-way, the way they structure the Fatal 4-Way in the tag team action, even if it bothers me, there was still a lot of action, just a lot of like fast and furious stuff, and the Young Bucks ultimately picking up the win. And so they will face the AEW World Tag Team Champions later on down the line. Who will they be? We will find out later on. But next up, Hangman and Page looks to prove Swerve Strickland wrong as they face off here. Swerve Strickland definitely having the home field advantage. I think I predicted that Hangman would win this match, but with this and with a couple other matches, I made one critical error in my judgment. I forgot this was going to be in Seattle, meaning the home field advantage usually equals win, at least in AEW. Normally, when it's somebody's hometown, Tony Khan usually gets them the win and to get the hometown pop, which I feel like I feel like it is good in concept, but also kind of has its drawbacks because it is nice to get them the win and get the hometown pop, which is a good thing, of course. But at the same time, it almost becomes like a dead giveaway that, oh yeah, they're in the hometown, yeah, they're gonna win this one. And meanwhile, WWE has the opposite problem. If they're in the hometown, that means they're losing that match, except for like maybe one or two rare occasions. It's otherwise. So I feel like both AEW and WWE should like switch it up, vary it up. Sometimes you win in your hometown, sometimes you don't. But nevertheless, Swerve ultimately does pick up the win over Hangman Adam Page. This is where this is the match where I mentioned it froze like a lot. A total of 5 times it lost the connection, but I still saw enough of the match to not only talk about it here, but to also really like it. It Swerve definitely. I love all like the momentum and everything that Swerve is getting. Swerve admittedly missed quite a bit of his stuff in NXT. Saw some of it. Seeing a bit more of it in AEW. Liking what I'm seeing, and of course Hangman, and also really liking some of the stuff I'm seeing from him. There's even a really gnarly spot where Swerve almost I think he chipped a bone or like cracked something in Hangman's arm. I don't know if that was added like a sound effect in production or if that was the actual sound it made, but either way, man, it sounded uncomfortable. It literally sounded like you cracking open like a chicken bone or something, because ooh, it sounded nasty. But nevertheless, as interference from Prince Nana, Swerve using his crown in order to attack Hangman and kind of get the win there, except Hangman kicks out, but Swerve keeps the pressure on. Eventually, he nailing Hangman with, I forget the name of the driver, but it's like this, and then in order to pick up the win. So Swerve picks up the win in the hometown. So congrats to Swerve on the win. And there, hopefully this means he definitely gets a major push in the future, because I really like him. But next up, Ricky Starks battles a Blackpool Combat Club member, but not the one he's been battling up to this point. No, this time it's Wheeler Yuta. So this kind of stems from last week on Collision, not last night's, technically the night before, because I'm recording this at 1 in the morning, but night before, Saturday night on Collision, and where the previous Saturday on you know what I mean, in the week before last night's episode of Collision, and where Danielson ultimately defeated Ricky Starks in the Texas Death Match, and Huda kind of preventing Ricky Starks and Danielson from showing some like mutual respect to each other. So now they kind of get the ball rolling with that kind of feud. So I guess Ricky Starks isn't done with the Blackpool Combat Club just yet, but nevertheless, as Starks is now going to fight Yuta here, actually picks up the win. But I do have to mention, in this and the next match, feature Jon Moxley on commentary, and Jon Moxley on commentary is it's something. It's definitely something. Like on one hand, I could tell. The thing is, and somebody pointed out that maybe this may be a direction they want to go with him, especially after his concussion and everything. Maybe he might be stepping away, so testing the waters with commentary. Like, the thing is, Jon Moxley, with him being in the ring, he's knowledgeable, and he talks about like different maneuvers and stuff, and puts over his partners and everything with the Blackpool Combat Club. But I don't think he quite has like the he doesn't quite have the how can I describe it? He doesn't quite have the verbal prowess. I guess I can call it verbal prowess of like, for example, like the other commentators, which it did rotate, and it usually does rotate. This time, it was usually a combination of Excalibur, Nigel McGuinness, it's Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone. But and it's because they've been commentating for a while, they have a prowess. They're able to really emote and really sell the action and with their words and verbiage and everything. Mox, he tries. He doesn't quite get the hang of it yet, but he still kind of knew this. And apparently he mentioned he got fined for some swears that he said on the 0 Hour, which on one hand is kind of rich because it's on pay-per-view, so like why is he getting fined? But then you remember the 0 Hour was also broadcast to YouTube, so you probably can't say that because you're technically still on like public broadcasting. Now, like when it's strictly pay-per-view, you can say whatever you want, but if it's on YouTube, you know, you got certain rules and everything, so you can't really say that. Kind of semantic, kind of splitting hairs a little bit, but nevertheless, Mox kind of like joked about it. They took it in stride and everything, but yeah. So Ricky Starks and Wheeler Yuta had still a pretty solid match between the two. It was funny when Starks tried like the elbows and everything, and Yuta just like totally deadpanned it and was like, "What are you doing?" and then delivered some elbows of his own, but ultimately Starks picking up the win and over Yuta there, and Mox of course giving Ricky his flowers, and Swerve, they're pushing heavily, Ricky Starks are pushing heavily, and I am definitely here for it. But next up the major match, almost a dream match of sorts. I think this was like, and I mentioned before, I think this was like the first match announced for WrestleDream. But Bryan Danielson and battle Zack Sabre Jr. and they definitely brought it here. A lot of people say this may have been the match of the night, and I think I might be tempted to agree because this was a really solid match. It's like definitely like a technical masterpiece, which you knew it was going to be going in. That's what they, that's really what they hyped up. That's really what they sold it being. This like a big technical masterpiece. He's pretty much almost like a run back of Danielson Ospreay, but this time around on seeing who is the best technical wrestler, or not Ospreay, not Ospreay, but Okada. That one being who's the best wrestler in the world, this being who's the best technician in the world, and definitely like a technical masterpiece. Both men really showcasing their technical prowess, and it was all kinds of phenomenal. Of course, I sadly really unfamiliar with Zack Sabre Jr., but this was a great sample platter of his that I got to see here. So props in that department. But yeah, so both men really showing off their technical abilities, their technical prowess, and it looked really good. But it ultimately Bryan Danielson winning with the Psycho knee. It took two of those to put away Zack Sabre Jr. here. The second one with the knee not covered. But Zack Sabre Jr. also not shaking Bryan Danielson's hand afterwards, failing to show respect. So does this mean the feud will continue? We will find out in the future. And also, I didn't know this, and now I know Zack Sabre Jr. is also part of the Mighty Don't Kneel, aka TMDK. But next up in 6-man tag team action, the Don Callis family, that being Konosuke Takeshita, Sammy Guevara, and Will Ospreay, a battle, a unlikely team of sorts, that being Chris Jericho and the Golden Lovers of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. And ultimately, the Don Callis family getting the win here. I think I did predict that Jericho and and the Golden Lovers would pick up the win. But I gotta learn to stop counting out Don Callis. I guess that's the big lesson: is don't count out Don Callis. It's ultimately the Don Callis family picking up the win here after some chicanery, of course. And this match was also all kinds of fun. All 6 guys really gave it like they're all really gave it their best and everything, and some interactions and kind of continuing some feuds and some storylines and stuff between like Takeshita and Omega, or Ibushi and Takeshita, or Sammy Guevara, Chris Jericho, Jericho, Ospreay, Omega, Ospreay. Really all these like different storylines kind of coming together, and it was a lot of fun and a lot of action and throughout. But ultimately, due to some chicanery, Sammy Guevara ultimately able to put away Chris Jericho and pick up the win there. So the Don Callis family win there, and I do like the consistent story thread. Don't get me wrong. Like, even though I think I'm like for like I think 3 or 4 when it comes to predictions again with like matches involving the Don Callis family. I don't think I've gotten a single one right. Let me know if I have, but that is a interesting story with Omega not quite being able to overcome Don Callis, and Don Callis and the Don Callis family having an answer for almost everything and squeaking away with the win every single time. And I think that is a nice, neat story thread, and we'll see where it goes. But next up in the semi-main event, where I also decided to throw in the towel, tap out, and take off autoplay. FTR defended their AEW World Tag Team Championships against Aussie Open, and that being Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. And really solid match. Both teams definitely brought it. Hit Aussie Open, kind of getting to know them as well. Really liking what I'm seeing, and FTR also brought it like they always do. Who ultimately FTR retaining, so it will be FTR versus the Young Bucks 4. But yeah, really solid match between these two teams, and it was awesome to see Aussie Open having a lot of answers for a lot of FTR strategy. As they're being built up as well. All these talent getting built up is really awesome to see. Pretty solid match, and congratulations to FTR. And then next up in your main event, and for the AEW TNT Championship, will Darby Allin take the AEW TNT Championship away from Christian Cage? So right off the bat, Christian Cage sends away a Luchasaurus, and then Darby Allin sends away Nick Wayne, and then they battle here. Quite a bit of brutality. Darby Allin like bleeding even before the match begins, and like straight up bleeding even in his like entrance and everything. Once the lights go back up, because of course they shut off for his entrance and everything. And I don't know what happened, why he bled and everything. If I had to make a guess, it'd probably be like when he banged his skateboard, or that like I guess maybe plastic or glass material, when he like banged it on the steps, as to show he's like fired up and ready to go. Oh, maybe one of them like hit him in the cheek, or it was his right cheek. Maybe one of them hit him in the cheek and kind of sliced it open. I don't know, but so he was bleeding, but yeah, so this course being 2 out of 3 fall, Darby Allin gets the first fall in a pretty hilarious way, essentially pulling Christian Cage's turtleneck over his head before rolling him up, which I thought was pretty funny. I'm surprised he hasn't done that sooner. Like you would think that'd probably be one of the early things you do to try to capture it. You might be TNT champion by this point, but then the second fall, Christian Cage ultimately he does by countout after like a nailing, like slamming Darby Allin onto the steel step. As which, man, that looked like a gnarly bomb. Thankfully, he didn't go completely back first. He kind of like landed on his arm, but it still looked really, really gnarly. And then, the referee's down. Christian Cage actually spears referee. Nick Wayne comes out. Christian Cage is about to hit Darby Allin with the TNT title. Nick Wayne comes out, grabs the TNT title, thinks about everything that Christian Cage has put his family through, his mother, or Darby Allin himself, of which the perfect time to nail Darby Allin in the face with the TNT title and help Christian Cage win. Yes, Nick Wayne has turned on Darby Allin and has joined up with Christian Cage. He has adopted Christian Cage as the father that he no longer has. Hasn't helped him retain the TNT Championship here. For starters, interesting that Nick Wayne would still side with Christian Cage after everything he's been through with them and everything, especially alongside Darby. Hopefully this doesn't crash and burn like AR Fox's heel turn. But also, the second thing I want to bring up, how is Darby Allin the only one actually from Seattle who actually didn't get the win? and why that win of all the ones in like the Seattle / like Washington area? Why, Tony, why was that the one that you decided not to give the win to? Who was Darby Allin? Of course, Swerve's from Tacoma. Bryan Danielson's from Aberdeen. Tacoma's really not too far from Seattle. I actually looked it up in the midst of this match, and Tacoma, I think the map said like 31 minutes by drive, and then Aberdeen was like an hour 41 if I'm not mistaken. From Seattle, but Darby Allin's actually from Seattle, and he doesn't get the win. But the third thing to mention is that, man, with all the times Darby Allin's been betrayed by this point in his career, man, he really is Sting's protege. Speaking of which, Sting is upset. He tries to fend off Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus shows back up, but a guy steps into his truck, drives up to the arena, comes out to even the odds. You think you know me? It's Edge. I'm sorry, it's not Edge. It's Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland is in AEW. Why Adam Copeland? Why just Adam Copeland? And I get it. Maybe you didn't have the rights to the Edge name, even though they did still have the rights to Metal Lingus by Alter Bridge, which of course is Edge's theme song, and they recorded the "You Think You Know Me," but why just Adam Copeland? And a lot of people thought he would be called Sexton Hardcastle. That was his name before WWE. Before he got signed and started wrestling with WWE and everything. Why didn't he just go by Sexton Hardcastle? Why is he just Adam Copeland? And what the heck? But nevertheless, Adam Copeland shows up. The crowd. The crowd still does go nuts for Adam here. I definitely popped as well. You kind of knew it was coming, especially because I think his contract just expired the same day, technically yesterday, but I might interchange between technically yesterday and today. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna say today because it's easier. We'll just pretend that it's still Sunday. But his contract expired earlier today. I think it was like officially expired, and he was there within the same day. So either he doesn't have the no compete clause, or he found like a loophole to where he could still appear, but he probably won't compete. Because I think that's what happens sometimes as well, where they'll show up and they'll do stuff, but they won't really like compete in like a sanctioned match or anything because it's technically not competing. I'm not competing, and to kind of skirt around the rules and everything. But nevertheless, Edge does show up. I might still just call him Edge. I don't know. But yeah, Edge shows up. You think he's gonna join up with Cage and company, but nope. He hits Nick Wayne, hits Luchasaurus. He's joined up with Darby Allin and Sting, and Darby is really quick to trust Edge after having just been betrayed by Nick Wayne. Granted, Edge, saved them and everything, but hey, dude, you were just betrayed. Are you sure you're ready to start trusting people? Kind of weird 180, but yeah, so it looks like Edge is going to feud against Christian in his first feud now that he's in AEW, which you figured it was either going to be he teams with Christian or he feuds with Christian. You knew it was definitely going to be one of the two, but it looks like for now he's going to feud with Christian, and so that's going to be interesting going forward. But also let me know if you guys are excited that now the Edge is in AEW. But that is WrestleDream, and we still never got an explanation as to what Tony Khan meant when he said this would be debuting a new era, unless he kind of explained it away on the post-media scrum, which I don't even know if there's a post-media scrum, but nevertheless, if I had to pick the best and worst / favorite, least favorite match of the night, for favorite, definitely Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Definitely if you are a fan of technical wrestling, if technical wrestling is your thing, this is definitely the match for you. If I had to pick my least favorite match of the night, or kind of just the weakest match of the night, only by comparison, I'd probably go either the TBS Championship or maybe the handicap match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, but only really by association, because those are still fine matches for the most part. But and they're also the two shortest matches. Is the TBS Championship match was the shortest at 9 minutes, and MJF versus the Righteous was only 40 seconds longer. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for. And I mean that on the main show. On the pre-show, the shortest match was actually Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne at only 4 minutes and 55 seconds. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for WrestleDream here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the event and my review of the event. Did you like to dislike the event? Did you like to dislike my review of the event? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.